We go now to the mayor of Kansas City, Missouri, Quinton Lucas. He joins us from our CBS affiliate, KCTV. Good morning to you, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning.
Omicron is surging. Hospitalizations in your city up 25% in the last week. Are hospitals having to postpone surgeries? Are they at risk of being overwhelmed?
They are overwhelmed right now in Kansas City. Really, since the Christmas season, we have seen incredible challenges in our healthcare network, even getting employees that are working in our EMS services, fire department, and in public safety. It is a substantial concern. It's why we have brought back a number of different requirements, including a mask requirement in our schools, to a great level of controversy, to make sure that government can continue to function, schools can stay open, our hospitals can stay open, and we're doing all we can from a local government level to respond to our challenges.
You've said you'd consider a citywide mask mandate if deaths and hospitalizations reached a certain point. Do you have a threshold there? What's holding you back?
Right now, what's holding us back is, in some ways, the political challenge that we receive from the state of Missouri. There have been numerous lawsuits filed by the Attorney General of Missouri, who is running for United States Senate, a Republican, who has sought mask mandates and called them things that are challenges to freedom. He's called them challenges and tyranny, those sorts of things that we face every time we issue a new mask requirement. The Missouri State Treasurer has gotten into the act. But what we're really trying to focus on is more vaccination. What we're seeing is, even though Omicron is spreading, 80 to 90% of people that are in our ICUs are those that have not been vaccinated. We're facing challenges because there is a substantial amount of misinformation out in the public about if vaccination is important, if it's good, if it's free, what it does to you. So we're really fighting, I think, a battle on two different fronts. One is from my political right and those that are trying to say that this just isn't that big of a deal, and then always trying to fight the information side to make sure that we get people vaccinated and safe.
But to that point, we have new CBS polling out today that really faults the administration itself for confusing messaging around COVID. The president's approval rating for his handling is at the lowest point. 2/3 of those polled cited confusion about COVID information and guidance. Is the federal government response here too confusing? Is it too slow?
You know, I think that those polls reflect a moment of frustration in America, certainly frustration in Kansas City. Time and again, and everybody in America knows this, every few months we thought that this would be over. I think what we recognize is now that COVID will be with us for some time, that we may continue to see new variants. But I do think that there is a role not just for the federal government, but for state governments to actually be helpful, right? We have seen in a number of different states, mine included at times, where there has not been the level of assistance when we're looking for that intermediate step. Who can actually deliver that testing to us in the cities, small towns as well? Who can actually make sure that schools can stay open? I don't think that those are federal concerns, and those aren't at the feet of the president. I think much of that is how can our entire government system, from local government up to the federal side, make sure that we're responding in an active way. I just think the president's face is on any number of things, and so he'll continue to be blamed. But look, what I want in Kansas City are more nurses, more hospital workers, more staff, and more tests. I don't care who they come from, whether they come from our state capitals, whether they come from federal government. I think that's what the people of America want on the ground.
You mentioned one of the people who is challenging your mandates is someone running for Senate in your state. I want to ask you, I know you're running for re-election as mayor, but you are rumored to also be considering a Senate run. What are national Democrats missing on the ground in states like yours? Do you think a Democrat could actually win a statewide federal election in Missouri?
I absolutely think a Democrat could win a statewide election in Missouri. I think, first of all, because what you see right now is that we're trying to respond to a crisis of the moment. We're trying to make sure we're answering COVID issues, trying to make sure that people are getting back into jobs, and talking about things that are responsible and reasonable. Not looking back over the last 4 years, not trying to push what I think is false information, whether it be related to COVID, whether it be related to the economy or anything under the sun. I do think, of course, there's a communication challenge that we face. The Democratic Party is a very big tent, and I do certainly think that more national voices that are saying, look, Democrats are doing things that make basic sense now, trying to address supply chain issues, trying to make sure people have COVID testing, and fundamentally, making sure that we're looking out for the people of Kansas City and America. You know, a few weeks back, my family came down with COVID, and then the toughest part, I have a 9-month-old baby, was seeing him sick. I don't think that there's any American who wants to see that harm to their young children, to their babies, to their families. That's what I see a lot of mayors looking to, Democrats, moderate Republicans, and others, and that's why I think the public would be receptive to messages from folks that are on the political left.
You'd have to file by the end of March. Are you going to run?
I have already said that I'll be running for mayor of Kansas City again. I'm excited to be mayor.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for your time. Good luck with the surge. We'll be right back.